Hey everybody, I am Danny Otto. Welcome into another episode of That Recap Show. Now, before we get into the actual episode, just want to issue a T'Challa as Star-Lord level spoiler alert. That's right, we are going to be talking about everything that happened in episode 2 of the What If series. So if you haven't seen that episode yet, you may want to pause this video, go check out that episode, and then come back for all of the recap. With that out of the way, let's start the show.
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.
Joining with me to break down everything from episode 2 of the What If series, it's the one, the only, Johnny Rico!
Hey guys, it's me. What's up, Danny?
It's you! We have so much to talk about in this second episode. T'Challa as Star-Lord doesn't even begin to describe how crazy this episode was, how awesome this episode was. So let's talk initial takes on this, basically. I'll go first. Look, I loved everything about this episode. I knew going into this episode that I was going to be excited for it. I actually said that in another video that I was really amped up to see this, based on the fact of just like, I really like T'Challa as a character, but not only that, but these were going to be some of the last lines that we were going to hear from Chadwick Boseman before his passing. So I knew this was going to be a very emotional episode in general. Now, I love everything in the episode. There were a couple things that I was really hoping for. First one was I was hoping for a recreation of Yondu Mary Poppins scene. Just because I think animated, they could have, like given a little Mary Poppins hat or like the entire thing, like go spun all the way into it. Now, we did get a reference from another old Disney movie, Robin Hood. And basically now that T'Challa has kind of been working with the Ravagers, now they're kind of the good guys. So they're stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. The other thing that I was really hoping for, and I totally understand that like they just didn't have a ton of time. Like this episode, I would have watched over an hour length in. But another thing that I really wanted was the opening scene when T'Challa is on Morag going for the Power Stone. I wanted a music scene, like a music dancing scene, just like we got at the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy with Peter Quill dancing and everything and picking up animals and singing into them like their microphones. Like I wanted something to that effect, just as the opening to the episode itself. Like it could have been 10 seconds. Just give me that as an opening to the episode with him doing that. I thought that would have been funny. It would have been cool. But like I said, no bash on the episode whatsoever. I think it was incredible the way it was. Rico, what did you think? What were your initial impressions of the episode?
Man, okay, there was so much to talk about from this episode, but you kind of brought it up earlier. Not only did T'Challa actually turn the Ravagers from like a gang of thieves to like intergalactic heroes, basically, but this dude over here manages to turn Thanos, a freaking mad titan, into a good guy. Like, are you kidding me? This guy's able to turn Thanos from a genocidal maniac into a good guy with the Ravagers. Like, if that's not the biggest what the frick moment that I've ever seen, I don't know what else we're going to talk about from this episode. And who replaces Thanos as like the genocidal maniac, basically? The Collector, like of all people. And he's jacked. I can't believe it.
Jacked Collector. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyways, do you want to go into big takeaways? Big takeaway number one, Howard the Duck is officially in the MCU. Now, we already knew Howard the Duck made a very brief appearance in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, but in this, he actually had a quick speaking role. And I don't say this because I'm hoping that now we get a feature film of Howard the Duck, but I think it just goes to show how awesome this episode was in kind of expanding the scope of how many characters they actually had in this episode, whether it was a minute with Howard the Duck or like 30 seconds with Drax or anything. We had all of these really quick glimpses at all of these really cool characters. And I just really hope that this is a trend that continues and they continue to, show us more and more and more characters every episode, and just kind of, even if it's just like a little taste of a character. But that was like the biggest thing that I noticed. I really liked seeing, even if it was a throwaway thing, seeing all of these characters, and how just they were a little bit different but still the same. And I just really liked that. I thought that was an awesome thing that they did in this episode. So that was my first one. Rico, what was your first big takeaway?
All right, my big takeaway from this episode is kind of going back to what I was saying about T'Challa being the one who turns the Ravagers into good guys, turning Thanos into a good guy. It's all about like the inner qualities of him as a person, of how he was raised in Wakanda growing up as a child, and that when he wanted to be an explorer out there, like he chose this life essentially. So why not do some good with it? And you see the ramifications of him doing good in the world. Saving Drax, who we see as a bartender who has his wife and daughter with him still. And I really thought that was a really cool way to take the what if factor into the episode with the story direction. You really got to see a lot of different pasts with different characters that you really did not see coming. And I just thought it was really cool how they were able to intertwine that with Wakanda into space, into regular Earth like America. We'll see later on.
Yeah, I definitely liked that too. Now, for our last big takeaway, we're gonna use something that we haven't used since the Loki series. Boom! Big reveal. As the everything is wrapping up with a nice little bow, we're back on Wakanda. T'Challa has seen his real family again, and they've met his space family, basically his Ravagers family, and everything looks right with the world, and we're going to the happily ever after scene. We think it's going to fade to dark, and we see an adult Peter Quill listening to his Walkman, and who might walk in? Ego, the Living Planet. He has found an adult Peter Quill. Cut to black.
Boom! Big reveal.
I'm back, baby.
Rico, you want to get into predictions?
Based on Uatu the Watcher's words at the end of the episode, where he's kind of saying that story is for another day, I think that's going to lead into a part 2 that we'll see later on in the season, where we're going to see that shot that we saw in the trailer of the Guardians in that kind of Avengers-like shot from the Battle of New York. And I think that we might see them be fighting Ego, the Living Earth. What if?
Whoa, I like that. And what's crazy is we're not so far off on kind of our predictions, because that's kind of along the lines of what I was thinking. I think now we don't know anything about how this Peter Quill was raised. We know that he lost his mother, obviously the same way, but he didn't have this Guardians family basically to kind of talk him out of kind of going along with his father from like Guardians 2, when we had all of that interaction and everything. So he may be more inclined to side with, his actual family now. I think it's pretty plausible that this could be the big bad that we haven't been able to see, but that the Guardian of the multiverse may have to band together to fight off, basically. I think that's awesome. Right. My other prediction is I'm still gunning for this. Episode 4, I'm hoping that's the episode we get Doctor Strange. I'm still hoping that is our main live-action MCU Doctor Strange. Keeping the hope alive. Anyway, my last thing I wanted to say wasn't so much a prediction, but I found it interesting, and this was when I was actually here waiting to make the video itself. I noticed this. First episode, we got the Tesseract, which is an Infinity Stone. Second episode, we got the Power Stone, Infinity Stone. Third episode is supposed to be Loki on Earth. Loki's scepter is supposed to be the Mind Stone. So that would be the third Infinity Stone. Fourth episode, we're supposed to be getting Doctor Strange, Time Stone. Are we going in line and introducing these characters, not only these characters, but Infinity Stones all the way through the episodes? So we get 1 through 6, the introduction of each Infinity Stone. Then the bigger threat is after episode 6. So it's episode 7 and beyond, maybe, is when they're together and they're facing whatever that threat is. That's what I'm thinking. I don't really have a real theory for it yet or prediction for it yet. It was just something that I noted I thought was really interesting. Anyway, Let us know in the comments. What did you think of this episode? What was your favorite part? And what can you not wait to see moving forward? And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to hear about all of our latest video releases. Bye, everybody!